Attention gamers. If you like off-meta picks, rolling snowballs, sneaking up on snakes in the shrubs, pissing off your team's ADC while making sure the one on the enemy team can't even play the game, then let you tell me, little girl, you've come to the right place. Because there's nothing more dopamine releasing than seeing a full team of cocky fed animals sieging your property, sniping your molding teammates, slapping statues and thinking they are safe to post up the power plant quarterback, but little do they know there's a beast in their midst, being ridden by a little girl, planning quite the surprise for one unsuspecting shitter, and it's going to make for one hell of a clip. But the execution fell short, which is why you need this guide. Let's start by talking about why we are playing this snowball gaggling bear as support. You see, if you are someone who plays Nunu jungle, slightly resembles a 2018 ninja who lit his hair on fire and lives life at max volume, you play jungle, but that means you have to start your chomp ability, and because the economy is currently fucked, if you start your chomp you can't start your snowball, which means you can't forcefully introduce yourself to the enemy team in a way that kills their toddlers while benefiting yours. As Nunu support, it's a simple strategy. You just load into the game, buy a quick to-do list from the shop, and then spam ping the shit out of your mini-map. You'll have this blue Usain Bolt icon for a few seconds, so as long as you start rolling a big ol' bludgeon blunt before Usain expires, you'll have proper Keemstar speed to either surprise your enemies or run right past them. And 40% of the time this works every time, so then you are probably wondering why not Nunu mid, and that's a bit more complicated. You see, similar to how Walter White was the one who knocks, you are the one who ganks, which also means you don't know how to act when you receive one yourself, so then you just try to gank on their gank like an uncoordinated gank Inception, or more like Inception, because the enemy is one of those insufferable fucks who brags about being on a plant-based diet, and you now have the title of being ungankable. To make matters worse, when you are traveling the world doing God's work as the ganking god you are and making insane plays happen to get members of at least one team fed, you will be neglecting your responsibilities of defending a tower, and the enemy will capitalize, and thus support is the best option for roaming AP Nunu. In terms of runes, you will be harvesting darks so much you might get cancelled for racism while taking cheap shots and stealing eyeballs. Then the rest of the focus is around movement speed, as you will be getting served movement speed 1, 2, 3, 4 ways, and this is imperative because there will be situations where your team's Gosu forgets how to Gosu and you need to cover a lot of distance and not a lot of time to get to that ash hole who will ghost the second she sees you. There's just something to be said about an enemy thinking they got away one Lilia's queef from meeting their maker just to see your pink ass bowling a 900-pound snowball at them, and that's why movement speed and racism is the theme of the runes. In terms of build, it's easy because you just build these 3 items in order every game regardless of the circumstances. The Belt of Proto is a must-have because in situations that you are capital D dicked you can do a little root scoot to get out to safety. Not to mention there will be other times where you just want a tiptoeing psychopath to bathe in your aura, and being able to scooty in there so he's stuck has been highly effective. It's also the peanut butter to dark harvest jelly, as you will find many situations where some weaponized Stephen Hawking is a bit more than a snowball's reach and it does the job, and so I found it quite useful when murder is my mission. In terms of who to ban, please see my comprehensive list of people who make Willump mauled, with the ringleader being this queef healing Goda seen by Exhibit 6. And Exhibit 9. Bonus tip: if you spend $15 on this skin you can obstruct half of your screen's vision every time you pop a snowball. The theme of the early game is to basically never be where you are supposed to be. If you don't know where you will be next, how can the enemy know? Which is why after a fat leash I always head straight mid to demand they give me their flash. My goal is to essentially make sure the mid laner on the enemy team never has their summoner spells, because you know what happens to a Vhagar who doesn't have his summoner spells? That's right, Hogwarts midget jambalaya, and you know damn well the next time that teeny weeny wizard gets a hint of disco PTSD he is going to be 6.5 football fields back letting his dog get the dickin' instead. I have to say I've had great success with the level 1 blind Vola bitch mid combo, as it is almost a guaranteed flash, but it also serves as a polite way to foreshadow that you will be living in the mid lane pretty much the entire time, and like a modern day Johnny Sims in the presence of an ambitious new actress, there's no angle that you are unwilling to enter, which is also unironically why Willump has such a reputation for being a hoe. An added benefit of being such a nomadic Nunu is that you truly have set the bar of being a real support so damn low that when you do ever show up in the bot lane, it's like the 4th of fucking July down there, as everyone is just ecstatic that you showed up for once, and the surprise is always worth the trip. But speaking of trips, that brings me to the importance of the scuttle. You see, outside of making the enemy mid laner double dose their Prozac today, your top priority should be securing scuttle crabs for your team. That's because getting a whiff of the dead fumes that come off of these little river crustaceans is like shoving straight G fuel powder up your asshole before morning cardio. Real homies will know exactly what I'm talking about, but the speed helps with the surprise effect, and by the transitive property this will lead to a gold advantage for your team. I'm basically always keeping tabs on when the next little crab is going to be birthed so that I could zoom in and one shot that amphibious fuck, which does occasionally upset others who saw that crab was on the menu. So when that happens, you just need to say you need to slip out to take a piss, but really you have a bit more planned for that British bitch. But this is why no matter how long it takes, scuttle crabs are of top priority. And this will be the ultimate key to early game success.
You are now in the presence of a king.
It's worth noting that your presence will change the entire game, as so many random people who don't belong there will just start showing up mid lane. You would think it's Kai Cenat's basement, but it's important to stay true to yourself. And that is a small toddler riding a flamboyant bear rolling a mango jizz covered disco ball at every Tom, Dick and Caitlin in your way. And as long as your teammates have functional brain cells, it should always work out for you. Once the mid-game hits, you need to realize that your chompy boy ability and your ult almost double your effective health pool, so in situations where you can't properly drive your snowball that ultimately end up with your top laner dying because of your ineptitude and now you are in a 1v2, you need to practice the master bait cast and ult and pray combo that boils down to pressing R and then eventually pressing R again, and you'll be shocked at the situations you survive. Here I had a family-friendly melting of an adversarial ice cube planned, but the itinerary got all fucked up when I only set the table for 3, so Samsung Galaxy Ori was disinvited and I was dicked until I ulted to save me once, and then when things were looking bleak I hit a last supper, which led to it not being a last supper after all, and like that I was out and it was like it never happened. In another clip I was heading mid to defend against an insanely fed bot lane that totally had nothing to do with me or how I played the early game, but despite being full AP I stood my ground and held a fart in for so long that it flat out knocked the bony one dead. But at this point you will have grown a big enough APness to really start killing kids with your disco balls. But the main attraction now is to use your support vision score chasing abilities to find unwarded bushes and then to abuse the fact that you have a 500% AP ratio scaling ability. Hope you enjoyed. These guides take forever for me to make, so let me know if you like them and check out the last one I made here on bot lane fiddlesticks carry. Rav out.